All right, so get this. We're diving into this study, and it says Bitcoin could hit $1 million by
Whoa,
early 2027.
$1 million. That's a bold claim, that is.
It is. It is. Can you even imagine that?
Well, it's a bold claim for sure. But looking at it, it is based on some pretty interesting economic modeling. It's from the Satoshi Action Fund, and
Oh, okay.
they're not just like throwing darts at a board or something.
Yeah, yeah, right. No, they've got a whole model, like a whole system, and it's based on something called a constant elasticity of substitution demand function.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, that sounds a little intimidating.
it does sound a little complicated, yeah. But think of it like this. Bitcoin has a limited supply, right?
Right.
Only 21 million will ever exist. So as more people want it and the demand grows, the price is naturally going to go up. So this model kind of looks at how those two forces interact.
Okay, so it's like if everyone wanted a piece of a limited edition pie, the more people who want a slice, the more valuable each slice becomes.
Exactly, exactly. And what makes this prediction even more interesting is what the study found. If demand stays at the level it was in December 2024, Bitcoin could hit $1 million by late 2028.
Okay.
But if demand increases at a faster rate, then we're looking at potentially that $1 million mark by early 2027.
Wow, that's a huge difference in time.
It is. It is.
Okay, so we've got this limited supply driving up the price, but what's actually like fueling this growing demand? I mean, it's not like Bitcoin is suddenly easier to use for everyday things.
Well, that's where things get really, really interesting. We're seeing a huge, like a tidal wave of institutional investors
Okay.
and even governments
Oh, wow.
getting into Bitcoin.
Yeah, like MicroStrategy, right? I mean, they basically just went all in on Bitcoin.
They have, but they're not the only ones. What's really fascinating, at least to me, is that at least 11 U.S. states are actually exploring the possibility of holding Bitcoin
Wow.
in their reserves.
Okay, states getting involved in Bitcoin, that's a new one.
It is. It is.
I mean, we've seen countries like El Salvador adopt it, but this feels different somehow.
It's definitely a sign that Bitcoin is becoming more mainstream. And it's not just governments either.
Right.
ETFs and even corporate treasuries, they're absorbing, massive, massive amounts of Bitcoin. This institutional interest is essentially taking huge chunks of Bitcoin off the market,
Oh, okay.
which could lead to those explosive price jumps that the study is predicting.
So even if everyday folks aren't using Bitcoin to like buy their coffee yet, these big players are betting big on its future.
They are.
But what about the people who already hold Bitcoin? Are they just like sitting on their digital gold mines waiting for the price to just skyrocket?
It's actually a mix. Some people are definitely holding for the long term. They believe in Bitcoin's potential to become like a dominant global currency. But remember, a lot of Bitcoin is also effectively locked away
Oh, how so?
because people have lost their wallets or forgotten their passwords.
Oh, wow. So it's like finding like buried treasure, but forgetting where you buried it.
Exactly, exactly. And that lost Bitcoin adds to the scarcity, which, as we discussed, plays a major role in price movements.
Oh, interesting.
But there's also another group of Bitcoin holders. They're actively trading. They're trying to capitalize on the short-term price swings.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones who might be selling if they think the price is peaking or buying if they think it's about to surge.
Okay, so we've got this limited supply, we've got the growing demand from the big players, and then you've got a mix of like long-term believers and then these active traders.
Yeah,
It sounds like a recipe for some pretty wild price action.
it definitely can be. Oh, yeah. And that's where things like technical analysis comes in. By looking at price charts and historical trends, analysts try to predict where the price might go next.
So it's kind of like reading tea leaves, but with like numbers and charts instead of teacups.
Haha, yeah, in a way, yes. And right now, Bitcoin is trading within what's called a symmetrical triangle formation.
Okay.
It sounds complicated, but it basically means that a big price move is likely on the horizon, but we don't know which direction it will break yet.
Ooh, the suspense.
I know, right?
Okay, but for those of us who weren't fluent in chart speak, what does that actually mean for Bitcoin's price in the near future?
Well, it means things could get very, very interesting. There are key resistance levels above the current price, around $99,510, $100,840, and $102,570. If Bitcoin breaks above those, we could see a major surge. But we also have support levels below, around $95,400, $94,100, and $92,680.
Okay.
If it falls below those, the rally might be delayed.
So it's like Bitcoin is standing at a crossroads.
Yeah,
And we're all waiting to see which path it takes. But with $1 million price tag potentially at stake, I mean, the stakes are pretty high.
absolutely. And the next few weeks could be crucial in determining whether Bitcoin continues its upward trajectory or takes a breather before its next big move.
Okay, this is getting exciting. So we've got the model's prediction, we've got the institutional interest, we've got the limited supply, and now this technical analysis is pointing to a potential turning point.
Yeah.
But let's get real for a second. Can Bitcoin really reach $1 million? I mean, that's an astronomical amount.
Yeah, you're right. It is a huge number.
Yeah.
And to be honest, predicting anything in the crypto market, it's notoriously difficult. There are always external factors that could come into play, like government regulations or unexpected global events.
Yeah, crypto is famous for its volatility.
Yeah.
It's not exactly known for being predictable.
No, it's not. But here's the thing. If we look at the core argument of the study and we factor in the institutional adoption we're seeing and the fact that Bitcoin's supply is only going to get tighter, well, that $1 million target doesn't seem as far-fetched as it might have a few years ago.
It's almost like Bitcoin's long-term value proposition keeps getting stronger. The
Yeah.
more institutions buy in, the more governments explore its potential. The scarcer and arguably more valuable it becomes. But what does this all mean for the average person? And what would a world with $1 million Bitcoin even look like?
Those are the $1 million questions.
Right.
And they're exactly what we'll be diving into next.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. All right, stay tuned, everybody.
Stay with us.
Okay, so we've established that $1 million Bitcoin isn't just some wild fantasy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the potential is there, and it's backed by some pretty solid analysis.
Yeah.
But I think what's really got me curious is what that actually means for the world. I
Yeah.
mean, what does a world with $1 million Bitcoin even look like?
That's the question, isn't
Yeah.
it? And honestly, it's hard to even fathom the implications of a shift that massive.
I mean, Bitcoin is already shaking things up as it is, but $1 million price tag, that feels like a whole other levels of disruption.
Absolutely, yeah. First off, let's just think about the sheer scale of Bitcoin's market capitalization. If it hits $1 million, we're talking like tens of trillions of dollars.
Whoa, that's more than most national economies. It
Yeah.
would be like Bitcoin becoming its own superpower.
Exactly. And that kind of scale, it would force everyone to take Bitcoin seriously. It wouldn't just be an investment for the tech savvy anymore. It would be like a major player in the global financial system.
It's like we're talking about a paradigm shift in how money works.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Right.
Yeah, we could see like a realignment of power with Bitcoin potentially challenging the dominance of traditional currencies and financial institutions.
So not just Bitcoin getting more expensive,
Right.
but like a potential revolution in finance as we know it. Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, how would governments even react to that kind of shift?
That's a big question, and I don't think anyone has a clear answer. Some governments, they might see it as a threat and try to regulate Bitcoin even more heavily,
Right.
but others might see it as an opportunity and try to integrate it into their existing systems.
It's like this $1 million Bitcoin could become like a catalyst for this global tug of war
Yeah.
over the future of money.
It really could.
But let's zoom in a little.
Yeah.
What about the average person? How would their lives be impacted by this?
Well, for one thing, I think we'd see a lot more businesses accepting Bitcoin for everyday transactions. It wouldn't just be for, online purchases anymore. You could be paying for your groceries or your coffee with Bitcoin.
Okay, now I'm picturing those Bitcoin accepted here signs just popping up like everywhere. It would be like a whole new era of commerce.
Exactly. And I think it would also drive like a ton of innovation in other areas like decentralized finance or DeFi. We'd likely see more people using Bitcoin-based lending platforms, savings accounts, even insurance products.
So not just buying things with Bitcoin, but using it for all kinds of financial services.
Yeah.
It's a lot to wrap my head around. It feels like we're standing at the edge of something truly transformative.
It really does. It's definitely an exciting time to be following this space. And while there are always risks and uncertainties, the potential upside is enormous.
Yeah.
It's like witnessing the birth of a new financial era.
But hold on, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here, aren't we? I mean, even if this $1 million prediction comes true, there are still going to be challenges, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There are still hurdles to overcome.
Okay.
Regulation's going to be a huge factor.
Yeah.
How governments around the world choose to regulate Bitcoin is going to have a major impact on its adoption and price.
Yeah, it seems like we're seeing a real mixed bag right now.
Yeah.
Some countries are like clamping down really hard, and then others are like rolling out the red carpet for crypto. It's kind of a wild west out there.
It is. It is. And that uncertainty can be a real barrier to wider adoption.
Yeah.
Then there's the technological side.
Oh, right.
We need to keep an eye on developments like the Lightning Network,
Oh, yeah.
which is aiming to make Bitcoin transactions faster and cheaper.
That's a good point. I mean, if we're talking about using Bitcoin for everyday purchases, those transactions need to be quick and painless. Nobody wants to wait an hour for their coffee to brew while a Bitcoin transaction goes through.
Exactly. Exactly. And then there's security. As Bitcoin becomes more valuable, it becomes a bigger target for hackers and scammers.
Oh, of course.
So we need to see, really robust security measures to protect people's investments.
Right, because $1 million Bitcoin wouldn't be worth much if it's constantly under threat of being stolen.
Exactly.
It feels like there are a lot of pieces that need to fall into place for this $1 million future to become like a reality.
You're absolutely right, but the potential is definitely there.
Yeah.
It's all about addressing those challenges and continuing to build the infrastructure for a Bitcoin-powered future.
So it's not just about the price going up. It's about creating this whole ecosystem around Bitcoin that's secure, user-friendly, and accessible to everyone.
Precisely, precisely. And I think that's what makes this whole space so fascinating. It's not just about making money. It's about building a better financial system for everyone.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential impacts, we've talked about the challenges, and this overall vision for a Bitcoin-powered future.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, from your perspective, what are the key things we should be watching for as we move toward this potential $1 million milestone? What are the signs that we're on the right track?
Well, for me, one of the biggest indicators will be continued institutional adoption.
Okay.
The more big players that enter the space, the more legitimacy Bitcoin gains, and the closer we get to that $1 million mark.
So keep an eye on who's buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And why.
Exactly. It's not just about the quantity of Bitcoin being bought, but also the quality of the buyers.
Oh, okay.
Are they established financial institutions with deep pockets and long-term investment strategies? That's a strong signal.
And what about on the regulatory front?
Yeah.
What should we be looking for there?
Clarity. We need to see, clear guidelines from governments and regulators around the world.
Mm-hmm.
The current uncertainty is holding back a lot of potential investment and innovation.
So less of the Wild West.
Yes.
More of a well-regulated financial landscape.
Exactly, exactly. And of course, we can't forget about technological advancements.
Right.
We need to see continued progress on things like scalability, security, and user experience.
Right. Bitcoin needs to be easy to use, affordable, and secure if it's going to become a truly main-strong currency.
Absolutely. Yeah, those are the key things I'll be watching for. It's all about building a solid foundation for a Bitcoin-powered future.
Okay, so it's not just about waiting for the price to hit $1 million. It's about watching these different pieces fall into place, the adoption, the regulation, the technology.
It's like watching a puzzle come together piece by piece.
Yeah.
And it's a puzzle worth paying attention to because the bigger picture is potentially groundbreaking.
It's definitely a deep dive worth taking.
It is.
All right, so we've covered the $1 million prediction, the potential impact, and the challenges ahead. But before we wrap things up, let's dive into some resources that can help you stay ahead of the curve in the Bitcoin world.
That's a great idea, yeah. It's important to stay up to date on this rapidly evolving space.
Right.
After all, this is a deep dive.
Exactly.
Not a quick glance.
Exactly. So we've covered the $1 million prediction, the potential impact, and the challenges ahead.
Uh-huh.
But before we wrap things up, let's dive into some resources that can help you stay ahead of the curve in the Bitcoin world. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the potential of $1 million Bitcoin to the broader implications for the future of finance.
Yeah.
But like we were saying, this is a deep dive.
Right.
And to really understand what's going on, you need to stay informed.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share some resources that I found super helpful for keeping up with all the latest Bitcoin developments.
That's a great idea.
So first up, we have Crypto News.
Okay.
They're a fantastic source for breaking news, market analysis, and they've got these in-depth articles that really dig into all things crypto.
I'm a big fan of Crypto News.
Oh, cool.
They have a knack for explaining even the most complex concepts in a way that's easy to understand. It's
Right.
perfect for those who are just starting out the crypto world,
Uh-huh.
but it's also got great insights for those who are already familiar with the basics.
Totally agree. Plus, their website and app are super user-friendly.
Yeah, they are.
You can easily find the information you're looking for, whether it's the latest price movements or a deep dive into a specific coin or an analysis of the regulatory landscape.
And they cover a wide range of topics, too, from Bitcoin and Ethereum, which we've been talking about today,
Yeah.
to other areas like, decentralized finance and even NFT. So you can get a really well-rounded view of the whole crypto landscape.
Another resource I can't recommend enough is CoinDesk.
Okay?
They're known for their top-notch journalism and their really insightful analysis of the crypto industry.
CoinDesk is definitely one of my go-to sources. I always appreciate their balanced reporting and their ability to cut through the hype
Right.
and get to the heart of the matter. They don't just tell you what's happening. They help you understand why it matters.
Right. And they've also got a great podcast called CoinDesk Podcast Network,
Yeah.
where you can hear from some of the biggest names in the crypto world, developers, investors, analysts, you name it. It's a great way to get different perspectives and stay ahead of the curve.
Oh, and I can't forget to mention Bitcoin Magazine.
Oh, yeah, good one.
They've been around since the early days of Bitcoin, and they're a fantastic source for news, insights, and perspectives from within the Bitcoin community.
They're like the pioneers of Bitcoin journalism.
Yeah, they are.
And they do a fantastic job of highlighting the human side of Bitcoin.
Right.
Like the stories of the people who are building and using this technology.
Yeah.
It's inspiring stuff.
It really is, yeah. They capture the passion and the vision that drives this space forward. It's not just about numbers and charts. It's about the people who believe in Bitcoin's potential to change the world.
So there you have it. Crypto News, CoinDesk, and Bitcoin Magazine.
There you go.
3 awesome resources to keep you in the loop on everything Bitcoin. Definitely check them out if you want to stay informed and join the conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've covered the $1 million prediction,
We have.
the potential impact,
Uh-huh.
and the challenges ahead.
Yep.
But before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the potential for Bitcoin to, disrupt the financial system.
Right.
But what if its impact goes even further? What if Bitcoin's true potential lies in its ability to empower individuals and communities around the world?
That's a really powerful idea. The decentralized nature of Bitcoin does offer a unique opportunity to create a more equitable and accessible financial system.
Right.
It could give people more control over their own finances, free from the constraints of traditional institutions.
Exactly. It's about putting the power back in the hands of the people.
Yeah, it is.
And that's something we're thinking about as we move toward this potential $1 million future for Bitcoin.
For sure.
It's not just about the price, it's about the potential for positive change that this technology represents.
Very well said. It's a future worth striving for, and I'm excited to see how it unfolds.
Me too. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
The pleasure was all mine.
It's been a blast exploring the world of Bitcoin with you.
It has been, yeah. Until next time.
And to all of you listening, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the fascinating world of crypto.